Bartosz Mikuszewski, Catmost Polska, modeling of piles and bridge abutments with best pile and best abut tools. The last time for engineers generated quite a lot of changes. Particularly, this is the change of the regulation on road engineering structures, which requires application of new load classes when you design road engineering structures. By the same fully, Eurocodes have been implemented, which so far have been used only for railway bridges or railway engineering structures. And the last change of the regulation caused the change of the load ratios for road bridges. We do not use the K track and the Q load, no A to E classes, but we have LM1, 2, and 3 models and only 2 load classes and applicable adjusting ratios. Interesting is guidelines recommended by the Minister of Infrastructure, so-called WRM, or bridge guidelines. They are composed of a couple of volumes, and the process of their generation and update is continuous, which wouldn't be that easy for a regulation or a standard. By this fact, the designing tools will have to be regularly updated. The same is applicable to the software. And abutments and piles are very important elements of bridges, and the costs of abutments and piling may be up to 1/3 of the cost of a bridge. And also in the design and build contract, when you optimize your process, you need to face frequent changes in geometries and their relationship with the spans. If it is the case, you need to have a tool for quick designing of abutments and piles, very flexible and easy to be able to adjust the geometry using also the Euro norms, Euro standards. And these best abut and best pile, these new types of software meet all these requirements. And let me discuss these and designing of abutments in best abut software. So this software has quite a lot of possibilities, and this is a standalone application, so you can design different types of abutments, and the 3D designing is parameterized. You can use Polish standards of Eurocodes, and the final effect can be achieved within as little time as 15 minutes. And the result is generated as a full calculation report. You can export it to either Excel or Word software, and this software also has its own engine. And the software has 3 types of abutments, and the geometry of abutments is parameterized, and you will be able to get 3D structure, and predefined views of interface allow you or make it easy to input data. And the software allows you to calculate different types of situations, calculate or define the location of bearings, and also to locate the roads. And you can easily check the staticity into rotation and shifting, and you can take into account different stages and loading of your abutments. And each new version goes farther, and also you can make measurements of your reinforcements. So here we've got the body and the foundation. And let's look how practically, quickly you can design an abutment. In the software, you've got 3 panels, 3 panes: the central graphical pane, right for navigation, and the bottom for data and results. At the bottom panel, you've got 3 different types of bodies. Next, you go to the projection of your abutment. So we've got 2 different types of foundations. So I take this rectangular, and there are 3 types of wings, and separately left and right wing. And you also have this intermediary plate available. Now let's go to the responses, where you can manually input data, or you can input and export and import data. Now you need to define the loads with our standards, using the standard. And now I go to the assumption when you need to take into account the earth pressure, passive and active ones. And you also need to define the standard. Next, you need to select the intermediary foundation, and you can freely shape location of your pales, and now you can make the calculations. You review the results of the statistical analysis, and it is possible to review the results for each stage of your structure. And you've got the forces for the combination in the foundations and also the results for your pales. And now you switch to the direct foundation. You've got the forces and also the tensioning under the structure. And now we check the statistical condition for rotation and shifting. And I review individual calculation stages. It is possible to assign loads for each stage separately. Like there is a backfill, and in statistical calculations you can check the calculation of your combination for local coordinates and also for the inertia. And next, you need to review the internal forces for calculation of the internal part of your intermediary plate. And in the last panel, last pane, you will be able to define your variables. And when this is completed, when the calculations are completed, you get a tensioning strength of your reinforcement concrete. And the last step of the calculation is generating of the work report. And work takes less than 15 minutes to complete the designing process. And shortly in the future, it is planned to publish also the version of the software which will allow you to calculate the loads. And now the second tool for quick designing, that's for pales. You can analyze different types of work of pales. They can be pushed or taken away. They can be loaded actually or eccentrically. And you can also design using Polish standards or Eurocodes. And also generally the result can be achieved within as little time as 5 minutes. And you've got a final, fully complete report of calculations, and it is because it is easy to import and export data using Word and Excel files and cooperation with BestCAV. And very easily, efficiently, you can calculate different layers of soil, changing their details. And you've got different calculation situations included in the Polish standard for calculations based both on the Polish standard and Euro standards. And you've got 17 different types of pales, and they can be calculated individually or in a group. And now you can select individual length of your pale, and quickly you get the load conditions. And let's see now how practically you can easily calculate the load of pale. When you launch the software, you've got the main pane of the software divided into two parts. The left-hand side place, this is where you input the data, and on the right-hand side, you've got the visualization. In the first pale, you input the drill data. You can also import it. In the next, you select the type of your pale. You change the section, number of pales, and you can also change the load of your pale for calculations. In the next tab, you modify soil parameters. When the calculations are done, you get the results based on the standard you selected. And if the need be, you can also check the different calculations for different lengths of your pales. You can do this also with the chart on the right-hand side. And the last step is generating of the report in the Word file. And it takes less than 5 minutes to complete. How I presented in this presentation, both tools can easily design abutments and pales, and all is matching the requirements of standards. And That is very useful. All those of you who make a lot of calculations, and they are frequently optimized in design and build solutions, and they can be easily used by contractors, as these tools can analyze different stages of works. Thank you very much for your attention.